Hi, this is Atome with a weekend edition of the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe. It is Saturday, the 7th of June. Starting off with the FTSE, which has had lots of blue candles in the recent past, and that is also nice in the sense that it represents a breakout of the recent rather strange 100-point range, 8,700 to 8,800, but we finished the week entirely above the top end of that range, so above 8,800, looking for the top of that green broadening triangle there, heading for 9,000 by the end of this month. On the downside, obviously, the worst expected is recent support, 8,700. Moving along to the DAX, and here, picture is of a market still taking its time to get up to the top of its rising trend channel there from March, April last year, so 24,700. The target by the end of this month, and we're looking for that, especially while we're on the right side of 24,000. If there is a rug pull, not expecting it to be lower than the initial June support, 23,700. Moving on to the Dow, which has been the laggard, which is probably right, given that the Dow is the origin of that March-April decline for this market, in fact, February to April decline for this market. But we have broken that resistance line there from February and the 200-day line, 42,500. Just fell short of breaking 42,800 on a closing basis, which is what we wanted to get up to the next, or to at least start the journey for a move up to March resistance of 44,000. But we're in a rising red trend channel. RSI is in a good place at 60, and we've got the 50 and 200-day lines both rising. So in theory, heading for a golden cross maybe by the end of this month. And the top of that rising trend channel as high as 47,000 at some point, maybe later in the summer. On the downside, the worst we're expecting is that 50-day line at 41,000. Moving on to Bitcoin, where an increasing number of companies have their life depending on where this goes, Bitcoin treasury strategy. But here you can see that we had a mini rug pull down to the 50-day line, but have re-established support above the 102, 103 level. Above that, looking for a retest of 112,000, hopefully by the end of this month. And the way that we bounced very sharply after the rug pull towards the 50-day line does suggest that there's more momentum coming into this market. On to gold, and here struggling for some reason with 3,400 again, and at least though we are above that April resistance line, that's around 33.20, and the floor of the rising trend channel there from March at about the same level. If there is a ongoing failure at 3,400, then maybe we'll have to test support down to 32.56 and the 50-day moving average. But still, the glass here half full rather than half empty, given the way the RSI is at 55 and has bounced off the neutral 50 level twice in the recent past. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with Anemoi, which is another of those Bitcoin-friendly situations. We've seen the stock hit our target there, basically 0.9, right on the nose to end the week. Next level up would be up to 1.13, and we're looking for that potentially while we're above the old resistance on the way down, around 0.76. Next up is Atome, and here, healthy looking picture as well, breaking that falling 200-day line quite sharply, and also breaking our target there at 53 pence at the top of that broadening triangle from December. Above 53, looking for up to 70 pence, hopefully by the end of this month. Good turnaround for Bluebird, and here, a second day of rising. It was a bear trap island reversal, one of our favorite setups, so gapping down on the left side and gapping up on the right. And I think we were looking for 0.55 initially at the 50-day line, but now looking for 0.79 at the top of that falling trend channel from August last year. Best case up towards 1.1 pence, maybe by the end of this month. But the key here, holding that 50-day line at 0.56 would be the best thing to happen. Moving on to Contango, which after it was had another false dawn last month, but hopefully the shares have established lasting support at 0.8. Got a bit of bullish divergence going in there as well. I suppose if you're cautious, to wait for the recent pesky 1.1 pence resistance zone to be broken, but potentially it's third or fourth time lucky in terms of basing. Above 1.1, looking for 1.8 perhaps by the end of next month. Ideally we stay above that 50-day line, 0.94. On to Coinsilium, which is one of the purest plays in terms of Bitcoin treasury at the moment, and you can see that the shares closing near to the 7 pence level, which compares very favourably to the recent 6 pence placing, and the one last month at 3 pence, so always a show of strength of it. Stock remains above placing prices, and that's what this stock has done. Initial target here, while we're above 6 pence, up towards 9, and then obviously the best of last month, 10 pence, but ideally homing in on 9 pence while we're above 6 on Coinsilium. Distil is next, and here the shares of note at the moment, given the way that we've bounced just below the 200-day line there at 0.12. Above that, the strong price action of Friday, looking for 0.22 perhaps as soon as the end of this month. Moving along to electric guitar, which has obeyed charting rules in the recent past, which is always pleasant. Here we've had a bit of a dance with the falling 50-day line, but hopefully the bounce on towards the end of the week around 0.09 will be a lasting floor, and above 0.09 we're looking for the old support on the way down at 0.16, hopefully by the end of this month. RSI has delivered a double bounce on a neutral 50, so that is also a positive for that stock. Moving on to Fiinu, which seems to be reviving itself at the moment, breaking out of that little triangle area, and top of that triangle around the 7.8 pence level, and looking for that to lead to a move as high as 14 pence, maybe by the end of next month. But obviously we've got to stay above that line on an end of day close basis. Obviously on Friday we backed off it, but end of day close above 7.9 pence could get Fiinu back on track for a move to the mid-teens. On to Galantas, and here a nice picture in the sense that we are also pushing through the 200-day line. Gap close signal quite a few weeks ago, around the middle of May, and above the 200-day line there at 4.5 pence, looking for up to 9 pence by the end of next month. Moving along to the stock of the day on Friday, hydrogen Utopia, which managed to do what it's been trying to do for some time, which is to get that waste to hydrogen technology under its belt. That's given us the initial target there up to 3.5 pence, and above that we're looking for up to 5 pence by the end of this month. Ideally we stay above the 200-day moving average at 2.8 pence in the meantime, but it looks as though the shares and the company finally turned around for good. On to Roadside real estate, and here, although somebody said that the charting has got nothing to do with the fundamentals, we do have a potential, and we've had a potential target for the shares up to 55 pence, which we're now looking for by the end of next month. Obviously, massive share buyback on the way from the company, and especially while we're on the right side of recent support at 38 pence. 55 looks to be the minimum on the upside on Roadside. Interestingly enough, the shares up nearly 360% last year, and already nearly up 50% so far this year. Moving along to the last two. The first one is a stock which I don't think I've ever covered before, which is Taseko Mines, and here the picture is an unfilled gap to the upside through resistance, normally a very strong signal at £1.95. Above that we're looking for the top of the rising trend channel from May, as high as £2.90 by the end of next month. Last on the list is UOG, which is United Oil and Gas, and here very close to that red target line there, which is currently heading towards 0.19, may call it 0.2 pence. Above 2 pence we can now upgrade the situation to 0.3, maybe by the end of next month. Ideally we stay above the recent resistance, the May resistance, through 0.16 on an end of day close while we are trying to do that, but up to 0.3 by the end of next month looks as though it is now potentially on the cards. That's it from me today. More updates on Monday.